none of us is as smart more than all of us. If you combine your thoughts with those of others, you'll come up with thoughts you've never had. These are the words of Ken Blanchard. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wheresoever you could be watching this video from. Makwago, the boy on the street, with a burden in his heart for Africa. It's been for a while because of some few circumstances, but everything is fine now. It is always about Africa, and we're supposed to be talking about Africa, because it's so heartbreaking that Africa, with all what it was blessed with by the Creator, the universe, whatsoever you choose to call it, still suffers this much. Yes. After cross-examinations, you look at foreign powers like Britain and France, who were chief colonizers in Africa, and you see their gold deposits, their gold reserves. You begin to ask yourself, what is really wrong with Africa? Or what has Africa not done to satiate the greed of the West? You see, in 1905, the biggest diamond to ever have been found in South Africa was confiscated by the British Crown. And somehow that is supposed to be justice. Last Tuesday, the longest saving monarch of the world had to bid goodbye to the world. That was it. She's been in power for 70 years, Queen Elizabeth. You know, and somehow we tolerate that. It's supposed to be okay, since it's European, it is a superpower and all that. But in Africa, a leader who stays in power for 4 decades becomes a dictator, simply because maybe they don't abide with what their colonial masters want them to do. That is the situation of Africa. We were taken away from our natural ways of ruling that are appointed traditionally and culturally, because we were being manipulated with some words like democracy. Okay, democracy that they enforce on us that doesn't even work for them. We're manipulated with words like capitalism. Do you doubt or wonder why a country like Ukraine will be at war, Russia will be at war, yet Africa is languishing because of shortages of food supply to Africa? It is because we've given our thoughts to another man, to another group of people whom we think are superior to us. The situation is so pathetic to the extent that sometimes when you look at yourself, you start asking questions like, for how long are we going to be comfortable being slaves in the world? Has time not come that we have to start doing something about ourselves? Don't get me wrong, I appreciate the awakening amongst the African people. I appreciate how much youths are becoming conscious of what is happening and how they want to seize their futures and start taking care of. But the numbers are slow. We need to multiply, we need to increase, we need to take our batons and start, because we are at war. The truth is that we are at war. We must do something about Africa and start liberating Africa. African youth, you have all it takes. What will it benefit you after acquiring all the degrees, you know, the master's, doctorate, first degree, and all the rest? All you are ending up with is to cross the Sahara Desert, swim your way through the Mediterranean to get some jobs in Europe. Slavery did not end. For 5 centuries, African descendants have been slaves. When we do make a stop to this, is the 1 billion questions that we must stand in front of the mirror and answer. Sometimes you ask, where did the spirit of Shaka Zulu disappear to? Where did the spirit of Queen Azinga of Angola go to? Where did the spirit of Mansa Musa disappear to? Where did the spirit of Queen Ada go to? Deep inside among us, this generation are the descendants of these people I just called. The descendants of Imhotep, the greatest genius the world has ever had. We do not lack geniuses. Africa has everything in abundance. Our only problem is that we have deliberately been adamant to unity. And that is our only visa there. We must unite African people. Should we hesitate any further? Oh, 25 years from now, we should still have the chains we had, our forefathers had on their necks in the plantations of the Americas. This time it will be in the plantations of China, cultivating rice. If you think I'm joking, do some small research to find out why China is only interested in building infrastructure in Africa, not improving the debilitating system of education that has given us nothing since inception up to now. China has a plan to take over Africa. And that is why our populations are being controlled. Everybody, what is so funny is that everybody is running to Africa because of the natural resources and the immense market. But African youths are instead running out of Africa to seek refuge from those who are coming to take wealth from their land. When shall we stop running and discover that the only way out is to unite? Yes, we have to. We have no choice. We have to unite. The funny thing is that we always play the victim game, you know, complaints and this and that. But that is the place of weaklings. Our ancestors are so disappointed with us that we keep complaining over the same thing instead of standing on our feet and deciding to die. Because whether you like it or not, if you should not unite Africa, we are going to die. They are going to take us out one by one because they are so much interested about the wealth you have under your foot. How long will this continue? Our parents have been running for 5 centuries. Here we are now. We have one of the most powerful weapons the world has ever had. Media. Information. We're giving birth to in the information age. How are we using it to make sure that we leave a better Africa behind? But because trust me, our progeny will hold us accountable if we don't do anything about Africa now. We shall always be talking. But while we're talking, we need to be working. We have a plan on how to build Africa and make Africa emerge on top, so that together we can bring humanity back to mankind, because it's only in the hands of Africa to do this great assignment. But what do we have, African youths? I call on African youths because our fathers have failed us. These 55 or 54 presidents, if you will, may have had a good plan to unite Africa, but their hands are tied. Since the inception of the Organization of African Unity, that is now Unity of African Union, since 1963. Close to 60 years, they took the path of gradualism. We are getting closer, but never getting to the point. What do you think is happening? Their hands are tied. It takes some kind of revolution, especially mental revolution, so that together we can unite Africa. That is our only way there. You wonder why among some conscious African youths, their hero of the day are guys like Assimi Goïta of Mali or President Teodoro of Central African Republic. These are revolutionary leaders who have come up and understood what the game is, and they are trying to make it happen. But never forget that individually we are powerful, but united, we are unstoppable. Some of our leaders really want this unity stuff to happen, but they are afraid that we have been manipulated to think that they are the enemies. Whereas the real enemies are the imperialist powers, the colonizers, those who enslaved our parents, our ancestors. Yet they know what we do? We abandon the wealth, the untold wealth in Africa, and rush to them, begging to be their slaves. Time is coming, not too far from now, that some of the things we are saying, you know that is reality. find out, only to discover that any Chinese you see in Africa is immune to any justice system in Africa. They commit any crime here, the only thing they can do with them either way to be judged is to be taken back to Africa, because you should know already that we are seen as inferiors. They are superior to us. Now, why the whole world is encroaching and coming to Africa? Why can't we take our place? Because the truth is that power is gradually gravitating back to us. I know that circumstances will force African youths to finally rise up to take their place. Because like it or not, there are some that have made up their minds that they will unite Africa and give dignity back to the mother of mankind, Raquel Bolan. Yet the truth stares you in the face that should you join and come on board now, you will make the work easier. Just by sharing this video, just by telling somebody, a younger brother, a younger sister, or a friend in the neighborhood about the necessity of the unity of Africa, will get you there. Why Africa is in dire need of unity, some people think that breaking down Africa to further satisfy the Berlin Conference agenda is the way forward. Man, you are digging your own pit. That is what is happening. You're digging your own pit. Some people or some countries, so-called countries in Africa, think that should they stand up against the evils of the West, that death trap they refer to as aid to be taken away from them. Eritrea does not receive any aid. It's under sanction, but Eritrea is thriving. When shall we learn? People of Africa, when shall we learn? Well, I tell you the truth. Some African youths have decided to take the baton, take the challenge, and to unite Africa. And that we must do, because we feel it. We see what Africa is going through. And, someone once said that ignorance is bliss. There are some things that if you don't know, it's just normal that you should be comfortable. But I am so grateful that we are waking up to the reality of what Africans are going through. Unite Africa. Energize a country like Nigeria. And watch Japan clap to a new form of technology that will stone the world. Nigeria cannot do it alone. South Africa is so confused to the extent that they think that fighting fellow Africans is the way forward. Why the masters, the white masters on the table, savoring the wealth of the nation. They don't even know who to fight anymore. A few months ago, a 12.5 billion worth gold ore was discovered in Uganda. You know what will come next? It will be war. Terror will soon enter that country.